Okay. If these reports are true, money is similar. Kiffin wants an easier route. Here's my thing, folks. All right. Lane Kiffin beat Georgia last year. We know that. One of the best teams in the country. Lane Kiffin, 11-1 with Ole Miss. They had Georgia beat this year. I remember putting this on the X out. 5 straight possessions. This gets Georgia's defense. 5 straight possessions, touchdowns out of the quarterback there. You know, and I thought they were going to beat Georgia at Georgia this year and be 12-0. You know, but my thing is, everybody talks about LSU this, LSU that. Yeah, 3 coaches since the start of the century have won a national championship. Back in 2003, you had obviously Nick Saban, then followed by Les Miles, Ed Orgeron. Okay, so I did a little bit of research here, and I noticed, yeah, they became a powerhouse after Nick Saban started building them up in the late 90s, in the early 2000s, after Nick Saban left Michigan State, win the SEC championship there, 2001, beating the Vols, big Vols guy here, beating the Vols in that championship game. 2 years later, winning the national championship, ultimately taking the Miami job with the Dolphins in the NFL. We know we came back and did that. And, of course, Les Miles took over, won him a championship. And a few years later, some years later, we know what happened with Ed Orgeron. Okay, so you're saying, why are you saying this stuff, Robert? Well, just a little bit of research. When was LSU? What was LSU before Nick Saban got there? Because I go back 30 years of watching this stuff, over 30 years. And I'm like, I don't remember LSU being in Tennessee or Florida's way or Alabama's way in the 90s. So when is the last time LSU won a national championship before Nick Saban did in 2003? Well, here's a list here. You can easy Google search here. LSU has won their last national championship before that was 1958. Okay? And then you look at Ole Miss, for example. Ole Miss was a better Ole Miss won a national championship in 59, the very next year. Then they won again in 60, and then in 62. So my point is, why couldn't I don't know if he even thought about this. If he had talked to me, I'd have told him, hey, listen, once you look at it this way, you know, Ole Miss won before Nick Saban, they had won a national championship after LSU has, you know. So why can't you be the next Nick Saban there? So if he stays, and I think he could, judging by the way they played, judging by what they did, what Tennessee could not do is get pressure on. I compare them to Georgia, probably the class of the conference. If you beat Georgia, you can play with Ohio State, you can play with Michigan, you can play with anybody, including Ohio. You know, I mean that. You get pressure up the middle, and the way he's coaching these quarterbacks, look at Jackson Dart's play, looks like a hit in the NFL. I think what was the guy's name? Walter Mullen, the defensive tackle, first round pick there. So my thing is, if he stays there and potentially wins a national championship, maybe 2 in the next 3 to 5 years, 7 years, he's in the same breath as a Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Dabo Swinney type of coach. All right. Now that he runs off the LSU and wants to go the easy route, wins a national championship there, then he's into the breath of a Les Miles, Ed Orgeron.